What up, guys? We are back. It's Monday. It's 11:20. It took about 40 minutes to get my first order. Not offer, but order that I was going to accept. I declined some good ones, but it is what it is. If you're new to this channel, my name is Pedro Doordash Santiago. I do daily vlogs on gig work. Doordash, Uber are the two main ones. And we talk about betting on ourselves, setting goals, and figuring out, having a plan to do this kind of gig work or be an independent contractor and build towards something of your own. And that's what we do in this channel. So for all my OGs, welcome back. To all my newbies, thanks for being here. Let's get into it. I got to pick up right now, 6:25, going 2 miles. I was like, yep, I'll take that. 5 items, Soul Taco. So we're about 0.3 miles away from it right now, and then it'll be about another 1 point something miles to drop it off. Let's pick it up, let's drop it off. Now, before we do that, because we're almost there, the description of this video, things that drivers do that could possibly get you deactivated or get a contract violation or maybe lower your rating, that a lot of us do normally, or we don't think about the repercussions of it, and we have to be careful out here. So we're going to talk about some of those things. Number one, mask wearing. Oh, I got an Uber. All right, so wearing a mask. Now, this is going to be dependent on your city, state, whatever, right? Municipality, zone, whatever it's called. A lot of the times the mask, if you got vaccinated, you didn't need it for a while, depending on your area. At least for me, that's how it was. Like, they just stopped. They told you if you were vaccinated. There's no way knowing if people were or not. It is what it is. But people stopped wearing masks. I was one of them. Now, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, they said you got to wear a mask now. Signs got put back up. The city said COVID numbers are up in your area. Got to put a mask on. So I'll put this here. For Uber, it tells you before you can even get on, it tells you, hey, you got a mask policy. Make sure you have a mask on, blah, blah, blah. Got to have a mask when you're doing this work, okay? I don't wear one while I'm driving in the car, okay? But I got food. I keep the food in the back. I had the food, in the bag, right? But I wear one when I go into places. And if it is a hand to customer, I'll wear a mask then. If it's to leave at the door, I don't. Now, technically, we're probably supposed to wear masks all the time while we're doing it, while we have the food. I'm just sharing with you what I do. But if you're coming in contact with the customer, you're coming in contact with staff to pick up food, you got to have a mask on. That's what the apps require. That's what your city requires. Something to think about. Now, you can make your own personal decisions on how you want to handle that, but just know that it's a possibility a customer could say, hey, Pedro dropped my food off. He wasn't wearing a mask. They could report that. You could get deactivated for that. All right, order picked up. Let's turn her down. So this video isn't just about masks. I just brought that up first. And if you have an opinion about masks or whatever, or vaccination, try to leave them out of the comments. This channel's not about that. You can have your opinion. It is what it is. But let's not get into the debates. Just want to get that out of the way. But I'm talking in pure facts as to what the apps expect and what some customers might expect of us as we are delivering our food. So let's get that out of the way. Next topic. Next thing to be mindful of, communication with the customer. I say that for this reason. You're going to have customers that give you crazy delivery instructions that don't make sense. The customers that are going to text you craziness sometimes and maybe be needy or have a wrong address. And it's going to feel like you want to respond in a certain way, whether explicitly or being rude or whatever. I don't suggest it. I've done it a few times in the past on deliveries. Like you get a little attitude or whatever, and you're being passive aggressive, and it comes off, and then before you know it, you get down a rabbit hole of a communication text you don't need. DoorDash can see that. Uber can see any communication you have with a customer it's seen. They can see it. They can look it up. It's there, right? You can have some customers that might feel some type of way. Even if they made a mistake, they might report you or whatever. Be careful of that. Be cautious of that.
For Amy M on DoorDash.
All right, waiting on an order to be picked up. Accepting orders and unassigning them. You can get deactivated for that as well if your completion rating falls below 80%. Okay. Now, I do it all the time, but I've never been below 80%. You got to be careful of that. Okay, I bring that up because you can wisely unassign orders, but you got to make sure you're checking those ratings, make sure your ratings are right. Also, You can get deactivated if your rating falls below 4.2. That's got to be really difficult to do. You got to get a lot of 1 stars to get down to a 4.2. Or maybe if you don't do it a lot and you get a lot of 1s in a row and you don't have enough other good ratings to balance that out. So customer ratings are super important on the platform, as they should be. So check your ratings, check them. Every day you should know where you're at and know where you're at with that so that you can make informed decisions. And also, if that rating starts to slip, you got to figure out, what am I doing wrong?
Wah, 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 wah. Lateness is another one that can happen.
Right, so another one that, and I'm going to put, you can find all these on the Doordash site. It tells you, and I'm going to put split screens like you've been seeing. But one that a lot of us, we don't realize that if something happens, if a customer says something, maybe a merchant, maybe Doordash just wants to be crazy, right? If you don't use your hot bag and handle food safely, that's how they word it, handling food, transporting food in a safe manner, using an insulated hot bag, you can get deactivated for that. Many of us don't use a hot bag. Many of us do. Something to think about. I'd hate for somebody to not use a hot bag and get deactivated. You get a notice and it's like, why am I deactivated? Oh, well, a customer said you dropped off the food. Not, something to think about. Make wise decisions when we're out here, right? Now, have I put food in my car without being in a hot bag? Yes, I've done that. Pedro, why are you saying that? They can deactivate you. You just told me. I'm being transparent. I have nothing to hide. I've done it before, but I do use my hot bag most of the time. It depends on what it is and all that stuff, and if I feel like it needs to be transported safely, right? But I share that with you because I want, knowledge is power, information is power. Using hot bags, I think, are very important. I think it could also help with customer ratings. I think people enjoy the fact that when we walk up to that door and deliver the food, they see it coming out of a hot bag. All right, so another thing we really got to be careful of is marking food delivered in the appropriate way that the customer wanted, but it didn't. I'll give you an example real quick. Customer says, leave at or hand to me. It says, hand to me the instructions. We get there and they don't answer the phone, don't ring the doorbell. Maybe you're going to a school or a business and can't get a hold of them. There is a timer, a 5-minute timer in the app. Make sure you hit that particular option. There's a thing that says can't hand the customer, and then a timer starts. Don't mark it that you gave it to them unless you did. Super important, okay? Hit the thing that says can't hand the customer, start the timer, then it will prompt you to call or text them again. Then you can take a picture and leave it in a safe place. Do not mark that you handed it to the customer unless you did, or you used a 5-minute timer in the app itself. That is an easy way to get deactivated. All right, so for those of you that are out there that are using somebody else's account to dash, that's a no-go. Can't do it. Fraudulent activity. You need to be dashing on your account only. Also, do not let somebody dash on your account. Don't give them your information, your credentials. Could get deactivated for that, okay? Some of you might be doing that. Maybe you dash with a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend. You have your kids dashing for you. Somebody in my comments said that they do that. Their kids, or they are a son and they dash for their parents. Can't be doing that stuff. Okay, if something happens, the person's account's going to be held liable. Plus, you're trusting that person to make the right decisions while you're not there. Do not let somebody dash on your account. All right, so we have an Uber black card order, or it's DoorDash red card order. Same thing, but I'm gonna Uber. Let's go in, do a little bit of shopping. Let's talk about what not to do when you're doing these type of deliveries.
We're at Walgreens shopping for these orders, these items. Let's go inside. So as you're using that red card on DoorDash or the black card on Uber, don't ever get cute, get silly, and try to get a little soda for yourself or a snack and think they won't find out. They can find out. Don't do that. Get exactly what you need on there. And if you need substitutions, you got to go ahead and communicate with the customer on that. Don't get cute trying to buy yourself something.
All right, shop for those items. Let's go drop it off. Now with Uber, got to take a picture of the receipt. But got to be careful. Also, real quick disclaimer: if you have if you're a rewards member at Walgreens or CVS, do not use your rewards account to get points for other customer stuff. That you can get caught up doing that as well. So don't if they're gonna ask you, are you a rewards member? You gotta say no, I'm doing an Uber, I'm doing a Doordash. Don't put in your phone number, don't get points on somebody else's purchase. So some of you might be saying, Pedro, I know these things. These are common sense. No, we should all be doing these things. That is true. You bring up a fantastic point. But when we're out here and we're by ourselves, we get comfortable. We start dashing, we're doing this, we're doing that. Listen, knowledge is power, and just remember, all it takes is one little incident, one little slip up. Doordash can get rid of it. So this next one, I've seen other content creators say they've been deactivated or had issues, and I've seen it in certain comment sections. Manipulating the referral program. So a lot of you guys might get a message, or you'll see in your inbox or whatnot on the Dasher app, referral bonus. Refer friends, they complete so many deliveries, you get X amount of dollars, $100, $200, $800, whatever. I have heard some people say they've referred friends, they've completed it, and they never got the money. That's super discouraging. But basically, I think what this means is you can be deactivated if you somehow manipulate those kind of things. So let's say you have, like, I'm not saying this is 100% accurate, but in a scenario where you have a loved one do it, you set up an account for them, but you're the one doing the deliveries or something, and they find out, or they think something's fishy, you can be deactivated for that. I know people have been deactivated for this. Just be mindful of that referral program and make sure you're doing it the right way if you're gonna decide to try to get that extra money. So this next one is something that I did that I was not aware of. So you have your vehicle settings in your app, and you can let Doordash know what vehicle you're using, whether it's a scooter, a bike, a car, right? And if it's a car, you got to give them your information, your insurance. We know all that stuff. That's basic in the beginning process, right? But if you're delivering in some kind of vehicle that you don't have marked in your app, you can get deactivated. Let's talk a little more about that. So I did one delivery on a scooter. Some of you might remember that. It was like 0.5 miles. Anyways, I could get in trouble for that. Doordash knows I have a Ford Escape vehicle. I delivered this person's food, and I was on an actual scooter. It got to them safe. It was in a timely manner, but technically that's against the terms of service, right? So I say that because some of us have scooters that we use, or bikes, but maybe we originally started driving in our automobile. You could change the settings of what vehicle you have. Make sure you do that. Make sure you look into it. If you're going to be delivering on a scooter or a bike for a particular day, make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's with your vehicle. So the next one here we're going to talk about real quick is if you use a third-party app, and basically it's like Para, right? That's why a lot of people didn't use it, because it goes against terms of service. You could be deactivated. I've never seen somebody get deactivated for it, because I think so many people use it, they didn't want to get rid of that many drivers. But there are other apps out there that, could be considered as scraping information. You can be deactivated for using a third-party app that's using that kind of Doordash credentials and information. Just be aware of that. Knowledge is power. Make your decision on how you want to handle it, but at least I can say I told you so you're not surprised. Now, some of you might say, Pedro, why should I be worried about these things? You're scaring me, or, you know what, I know this already, like we talked about. But the main thing is, we got to understand these companies, we are extremely replaceable. And let's say they have too many. I think they think they probably need too many dashers. But let's say they need to get rid of some for whatever reasons, right? They could use any of these reasons to do that. And I had a guy call on the live show yesterday saying he got deactivated, didn't really know what he did wrong. It could take a month for him to get back on the platform. These companies can do what they want. We're an independent contractor. We're not employees. Just know that there's certain things you can do to protect yourself while you're out there dashing, okay? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is insurance. Got to pick up first. Hi, I have a pickup for Christian. Thank you. Now, when you sign up for these platforms, you got to provide insurance information, things like that. Especially with Uber, I know when it expires, they give you numerous times, resubmit. They let you know it's going to expire in a few days. The Uber platform is super convenient and very user-friendly to remind you if your insurance is going to expire, giving them the correct information. Doordash, I don't think I've ever had that issue come up. I guess I told them what it was in the beginning. I don't even remember, to be honest with you. But while you're doing gig work as an independent contractor, make sure you're covered appropriately. This is what I mean by that. Many times, most of us, when we sign up for insurance, we want to get the cheapest rate possible, right? We probably fall into that. Unless you have a brand new car you're still paying off, you probably need full coverage. If it's a car that you already have paid off, you're probably gonna have liability. To each his own though, right? But that's probably what the cases are for most of us. When you do insurance, right, it's gonna ask you how many miles you've driven sometimes to get that best quote. How often do you use it? Are you using it for school? Are you using it for work? The mileage, it knows your zip code, all that stuff goes into that factor. Your history of tickets, your age, the kind of car you have. We all know that, right? But does your insurance provider know that you're using this car, maybe full time, to drive so many more miles than they know? If you get in an accident while on a delivery, right? Are you covered appropriately? Look into that. I'm not going to give you guys information necessarily. Get with your insurance provider. Make sure you're covered appropriately so that if something does happen while you're on the road, especially doing deliveries, you can have more of a peace of mind while you're out there doing that kind of work, okay? Listen, you guys are fantastic. I hope some of these tips and tricks and information was good for you, especially if you're new. You probably learned maybe one or two things, I hope. If you didn't, that's cool too. Leave it in the comments below if you guys think I left something out. I didn't go over every single line item, but I went over some of the things that I think a lot of us tend to forget, or at least the ones I've been guilty of myself sometimes, okay? Knowledge is power. Don't forget, bet on you, Seckles, one day at a time. See you guys tomorrow.